You got to stand up.
I know my sister's somewhere in the world. Someday we're gonna meet again.
Keep your head held high, just like Mom taught us.
It's time I be free from you and then turn to creation.
I'd die before I let that happen.
Good. That's just the going away present I've been needing.
What was it that you wanted to bring to this version of The Color Purple?
It was very clear X years ago, talking to Oprah Winfrey, that there is so much going on in the world that the story of Alice Walker that she's blessed us with, this of perseverance and moving forward in life and finding your voice and being seen, was still important for the world to see. And while having done a Broadway show, it's $150 to go to the theater, and it doesn't travel the world the way cinema does. And movies are unique in that regard. And so we knew that we were never going to touch Stephen's movie. We were never going to remake Stephen's movie. And we wanted to reimagine it. And having music and dance was were two pieces of the puzzle. But there was another piece of the puzzle that I'd like Blitz to talk about, which was really, I think, the secret sauce of why this movie works so well and resonates so well with not only the original fans of Alice's book and Stephen's film, but also now a new generation to understand what this Alice Walker family and her ancestors were all about and how they can inspire people today through cinema.
When I got the opportunity to interview for The Color Purple, I remember first being very intimidating. Of course, it is sacred text. You know, the legendary Alice Walker's brilliant Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Steven Spielberg's cinematic classic, the Tony Award-winning Broadway play. You kind of go, that can't be me. You know, just because of just how high the bar is. So I was quite nervous about it, but I went back, I read Alice Walker's book again, and I found exactly what I was looking for. First page, first line, "Dear God, I'm 14 years old." And I remember going, wait, hold up. Anyone who can write letters to God must have an imagination, a sprawling imagination. And that's kind of became the lean in. Anything Celie could imagine, we gave her.
Fantasia, I know you played Celie on Broadway. I was fortunate enough to see it. But my understanding is you were hesitant to commit to the film.
Yes, I was. When Blitz called me and said, I'm giving Celie an imagination, I said, I'm in. They didn't give Celie an imagination on Broadway. So it left the audience and me trying to figure out how she processed through all of that stuff. I had just started traumatic therapy. Traumatic therapy is where they dig into your childhood and tap into things that you either forgotten or you went through that is hindering you from your adulthood. And I love, shout out to my life coach, Dr. Anita Phillips. But I had to stop doing therapy with her and do therapy with Celie. I realized that Celie was not the girl that I remembered her on Broadway. Wow. She was brilliant. I got to experience something different with her this time. Was it easy? No. But I had to do the work. And because of Celie, through this movie, I was healed. That's my part.
Taraji, you're so talented, and I think we all knew that you're incredibly talented and that you could sing. But you know, playing someone like Shug Avery is like a whole new side of you. What was she as joyous to play as she is to watch?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she was challenging though.
Yeah,
very, very challenging. I had to overcome a fear, but that's how I pick my roles. If they don't scare the hell out of me, then I can't service it. Because if there is a fear that I need to overcome, then I'm going to be transformed. And if I'm transformed, the audience has to transform with me.
Danielle, you also did the play on Broadway where you received a Tony nomination. How were you asked to sort of reprise the role? I feel like it might have come from Oprah herself, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I hear that Scott Sanders is doing this version, and I was texting him trying to get in there. And then after a few more months, I get the call from Miss Oprah Winfrey. They did shockingly surprise me. And she passed the baton. And I tell you, it's crazy because there are huge shoes to fill, but I'm so grateful for her because I believe she let me, and along with Blitz, be my own cobbler and create my own shoe and my own path. So I'm very, very grateful for all of the months of, trying and hoping and wishing and getting to the place that we are now.
Corey, I understand when you and Danielle attended Juilliard, it was like a class of 18. Like, it was a small class. So what was it like? I mean, I guess the chemistry and the shorthand was already there between the two of you.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
And it made it fun. It made it easy. But it's a joy to work opposite Danielle because, I mean, I've been watching it for years, but to finally let the world see what she's capable of is, I'm just so happy for you every time I think about it.
What I love is Danielle's ability to create this moment for herself. I feel like you knew exactly what you wanted. When you came up to me and you were like, yeah, I don't think Sofia will open the door like that. I think she'll kick it in. I was like, go for it. But I really appreciated all the beats of storytelling. And this is also kudos to all of you because a musical is a very difficult medium, right? You're telling the story through narrative work, but you're also telling the story through these musical numbers. So they all have to have an arc. And the way you all handle your arcs is just unbelievable. Like the storytelling, you with the photograph, right? That's storytelling, right? And then when you throw it in the water, I mean, it's all story. And so, again, I'm still in awe.
But Blitz, you gave us permission. Yeah. And Taraji talks so lovely about this in other interviews. You gave us permission to do those things. That does not always happen. And thank God for that. Like, I love what you talk about, like, really bringing, like, people together and making sure the spirits gel. You know what I mean? So thank you for giving us permission to bring what we know we could to these characters and not getting in the way of that.
And also thank you for taking good care of us.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a father figure on set. So thank you for that. Kudos to you for that. That's hard, especially doing the work that we were doing. Blood work, tapping into our ancestors, being on some sets where there were still slave houses. We felt that. We carried that. When you got no's and you didn't tell us you got no's, you believed in all of us when most didn't believe in us. So thank you for that, Blitz. Yeah. Salute you.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say to you, Scott, because we talked about it early today, and it dawned on me in an interview. I was like, it makes sense that music was added to The Color Purple, because that's who we are. Yes. That's who we are as a people. We're musical. We don't wallow in the muck. We've been through a lot. History shows us that, and still going through it today. And we will sing. We will go to church. We will dance. We will joke around. So thank you, because you started it. Here we are. Look at this multiverse you've created.
I do
Grateful for all of you, really, and this moment.
I do think one of the reasons the musicals are my favorite version is because there's so much more joy and color that comes across. At the same time, your characters are dealing with some very serious issues and going through some rough times. Are you the kind of actors who take your work home for you? Was it ever hard? I know, Taraji, you mentioned it could be hard, especially in those early scenes.
Well, I had to learn early on how to leave it on a set because I was a mother early in my career. And so, you come home and it's homework and what am I eating and got to iron a uniform for tomorrow. So I had to teach my instrument how to turn it on and turn it off. Yeah. So years and years of that is like in between. I can cry and they'll cut and I'll be like, girl, so last night.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we also have to remember that this is a very spiritual piece of work. What Alice Walker put to page is there's a reason why that legacy is as long as it is, why that lineage is as long as it is. When she, as Blitz said, wrote Dear God, she gave Celie the ability to pray. All of those letters, because they're letters, they're prayers. And so Celie was praying for Harpo and his healing. Celie was praying for Sofia's healing. And Shug, she was discovering Shug and also praying for her healing and her healing at the same time. And so we have to remember that we are representative of our ancestors who have prayed for our healing and who have made this path for us to be sitting literally on this stage right now with all of you. And that is the true power of the color purple. And Taraji is right. You know, it takes craft, it takes technique. Sometimes people think this is easy work or familiar work, but it is not. What Blitz had to do, what all of these actors, this entire crew had to do, this is work. And it takes discipline to be able to do that. But we have the prayers of our ancestors to allow us and lift us, to give us that gift. It's a gift.
It is a gift, and I love that it's opening at Christmas time. And one other thing that this nails, I think, better than any of the other versions is this idea of forgiveness. He's not here. I just want to give a shout out to Coleman Domingo for very challenging role. I think you have to find the nicest people to sometimes play the worst people. But I cannot wait for this to be shared with the world. I want to congratulate you all. I want to thank you for being a great audience. Spread the word. I think everyone's already excited to see it. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.